everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn. I'm a psychic and a medium. Thank you so much for joining me today. It is Mercury retrograde, so God only knows how this is going to go, but we're going to go forth and just see what happens. So if you're new here, thank you so much for joining me. I do post a request for your political questions on my community page. Typically, that post will show up if you're a subscriber on your screen at some point. But if not, you can always check out the main page of my YouTube channel and you can go to the community tab and you can see a lot of things there, including the request for questions. Now, also, I'm going to be asking these questions of my spirit guides. So if you've been watching this channel, you understand what that means. It means that call 1-800 Spirit Guides, press 1 for complaints, because it's not my opinion. You can literally sometimes see me questioning them on the video, and you should know that I'm probably arguing with them inside my own head. Listen, sometimes our horse doesn't win, right? Sometimes we hear what we don't want to hear. It's likely going to happen during this video. I don't just tell you what you want to know or what you want to hear. I, of course, know what that is, but I honor my spirit guides and my connection to them, and I just tell you what they're telling me, okay? So we're going to start off with our first question from Sunny Vibes, which is a great name. And Sunny Vibes says, I'm going to read the question, and then I'm going to answer the question, okay? So the question is, will indictments come before the J6 hearings so that the committee will explain why? Or will indictments be handed out during the hearings or after? I just got a whole bunch of potentially bad news for Sunny Vibes and the rest of us. Okay. If you haven't been watching the news, you get a gold star because it just doesn't help us to watch the news. It's very, it's challenging to say the least. Okay, so here's the thing. When I go into this energy, the reason I said that was because if you watch the news, you may have heard that the Jan 6 committee is in talks with the DOJ about turning over everything they have. And the Jan 6 committee, the Democrats, are saying, we may not give you that stuff. We've got our own dog and pony show going on over here. And we want to keep it going. And we don't want to give you everything we have. Now, that's frustrating for many people. But I'm going to tell you this. So why that makes sense with the question is that, first of all, there's not going to be indictments coming out during the Jan 6 hearings. It is my understanding that DOJ, the Department of Justice, is going to be the people handing out the indictments like it's candy on Halloween night, I hope. But the Jan 6 committee is doing their due diligence. I feel like when I go into that committee, there is some territorial energy between Jan 6 committee and the DOJ. The Jan 6 committee has done an amazing job of hauling these people before them and not only getting their testimony, but in many, many cases, videotaping them, which is priceless, right? That is evidence. So the Jan 6 committee has done an amazing job. Now, you might say that at the same time, and perhaps at a different speed, the DOJ has been working the same angle, maybe parallel. Okay, they've been doing their own investigation. So I expect the indictments to come from the DOJ, not the Jan 6 committee. I do not expect indictments to come from the Jan 6 committee. I was going to say I do not expect indictments to come before the Jan 6 committee is done, but that is not the case. There could be an indictment or two coming before the Jan 6 committee is done. They're very random. Like one comes out and then 2 weeks later another one comes out. You know, it's not like they did all their homework, lined everything up, and then went boom, 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 boom. It's like they do this, they take it to the judge, they get the indictment, they start over. They do this, they take it to the judge, they get the indictment. So it's very different the way the DOJ is working and the way the Jan 6 committee is working. Okay. I want to speak to this because this is important, apparently. There is territorial infighting, so to speak, between the Jan 6 and the DOJ. But I need to tell you something that's not going to be public. And that is that someone on the Jan 6, and I'm thinking it's Jamie Raskin or, well, of course, Nancy Pelosi is also involved in that, but they don't trust somebody in the DOJ. I'm just going to flat out say it. And then I'm also going to say this is for entertainment purposes only, but I'm going to tell you that the Jan 6 committee does not trust someone in the DOJ. And they just told me that's why they're videotaping. That is why the Jan 6 committee is going to the extra time and expense of videotaping all of these subpoenas or hearings. If Nancy Pelosi has a videotape of somebody testifying in her private safe somewhere, the DOJ or whoever the rotten apple is in the DOJ is not going to be able to copy and edit and make it something it's not. So that's very interesting. That's intriguing to me. I didn't know that. Does that answer your question, Sunny Vibes? I don't know. I hope it does. I'm going to move on because I'm basically kind of channeling these things, so I don't know what I just said sometimes, which makes me feel like I'm rambling. But I'm going to move on. Of course, if you have questions, you guys put them in the comments. I am really good. I'm really dedicated to trying to answer questions, specific questions. So if I have muddied that up or you now have questions, more questions about that, please just put it in the comments. Thank you for your question, Sunny Vibes. Okay. Okay, so Patty B says, none of the MAGAs I know, she knows some MAGAs, plan to listen to the 1-6 hearings. Oh, I just want to say, God bless you, Patty, for knowing MAGAs. Sorry. None of the MAGAs that she knows plans to listen to the 1-6 hearings. Will MAGAs listen at all or accept the testimony from those hearings? Will they affect MAGA devotion to Republicans, or will their cult be unaffected? Great question, Patty. The answer is no. Very concisely, the answer is no. This isn't actually being done for them. The Jan 6 committee is not being done for the MAGAs. They are literally untouchable. Their brains are scrambled, and we cannot communicate with them at this time. So who is the Jan 6 committee for? Well, as I just said in the question before, apparently the Jan 6 committee hearings are to make an entire sort of copy of the hearings, of the witnesses' testimony, so that the DOJ can't jack it up, can't change it, can't coerce it. So that's one reason. Another reason is that there's a big, vast majority of people who just don't vote. There's a big, vast majority of people who vote infrequently. There's a vast majority of people that are independents who maybe switch parties depending on what's going on. The Jan 6 committee is to fire up the Democrats so that we will get out there and work and work and work and donate and understand the seriousness of our situation here. And it is also designed to inform the electorate that doesn't vote. And there are some Republicans who are not MAGAs who have been potentially sitting out the vote because they just couldn't maybe force themselves to vote for a Democrat. This is also educational for them to understand, again, just how close we were to losing our democracy, and really in some ways still are. So that's the reason behind this. It's not about the MAGAs. The MAGAs, and now if you, and I'll just throw this in there, Madison Cawthorn didn't win, which the guides predicted. I put it on the community post. But Madison Cawthorn is now forming a group called the Dark MAGAs, and the Dark MAGAs are going after the other MAGAs. So the Republican Party is about to be tearing itself apart, and we're going to let them do that. So it's not like the MAGAs are going to stay this potent, group of people. I think that the Republican Party is being torn apart. Now, the guides also said months ago that Liz Cheney, who's on the Jan 6 committee, who I don't care what anybody says, we should not trust her as far as we can pick her up and throw her. But, she's on the right side right now, and that's good, but she's not our friend, just remember. She's angling to take over the Republican Party. When these MAGA people all get in there and rip each other to shreds, she's going to arise like the voice of sanity and reason within the Republican Party. Now, everybody who says, thank God for Liz Cheney, I just want you to go look at her voting record. I mean, she's voted horribly, absolutely horribly. The only thing that she's done is stand against the insurrection, which is something. I'm not saying it's not something. Don't yell at me. I am saying that she's going to take over the Republican Party, and if she doesn't take it over, she'll form a new one, and this is what the guide said a long time ago. Okay, and it's getting closer to that eventuality this summer. Okay, so next question, and thank you for your question, dear. Next question, Linnea. Linnea Hood says, will Matt Gaetz ever see his just rewards, or will he skate away? When we're asking the spirit guides questions and you say his just rewards, that could be anything, right? I mean, what are his just rewards? Will he see time in prison? Will he get fined? I mean, we have to define just rewards, because their answer was, yes, he's going to see his just rewards. But I also know I've asked that same question and they've said, yes, he'll skate away. So I think that what that means is that some people may see his penalty for his behavior to be less than it should be. Okay, but he will get penalized. He will experience some bad days, a bad life, a bad, couple of years. What is that behind bars? I don't know. I'm not sure. Will he lose his seat, or will he, let me go into that. They're showing me something right now. And it has to do with Boebert. No, it has to do with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Yeah, it has to do with Marjorie Taylor Greene. Right. Yeah. So this might make you even more mad. He could be implicated in the Jan 6. He could be implicated and get off. Okay, I need to talk about this. Look, guys, there's the law, and there's courts, and there's evidence, and the Republicans are so slippery. I don't know if you've ever tried to hold something that's so slippery that you just can't hold it. if you can't hold it, you can't catch it. And that's Republicans. They're so slick. You can't grasp it. That is Matt Gaetz. He could be implicated. We could have what we all consider evidence, but it might not be enough evidence. It might not be the word they're using, a preponderance of evidence. So I feel like because the Republican Party no longer cares about respect, they no longer care about ethics, they no longer care about, visuals or how things look or anything, that we the people could charge him with a crime against some sort of sexual assault or some kind of thing with underage girls, and he's going to brush it off and continue representing or continue running. And so I do these videos because not to, make everybody mad, but we're trying to manage our expectations here. The truth of the matter is that we're not going to win every race. We're not going to win everything. Every crook doesn't end up in prison. Let's just call it like it is. Every crook doesn't end up in prison. Some of them just get off. Okay. So I think that he's going to slip and slide. And I think that something is going to happen to him, but I don't think it's going to be what we think it should be. Okay. I hope that makes sense. I'm going back and asking a question that I think is more relevant. And that is, will he continue to serve Florida as an elected official? And I can't use the word continue. I need to put a timeline. Will he continue to serve more than 3 more years? There's a real possibility of a yes there. I want to throw up. Literally, sorry if that was too much information, but it's sickening, right? But Florida is Florida. It's the dark side now. And so he may not step down. Even if he's charged, he may not step down. This is what I have to say. I'm sorry I had to say it. Okay. I feel like I should shake off that energy. Okay, so Lightheart Susanna. Hi, Susanna. Thank you for your question. Do your guys think that Putin uses doubles and isn't making real public appearances? Is he really sick? Oh, yeah. So at 2 a.m. this morning, I wrote something, that, I've been kind of all over the map on this, to be honest with you. I'm looking at my notes. I've been all over the map on this because, okay, so your first question is, does he use doubles? The answer is yes. I'm a professional photographer. I've been a professional photographer since I was 16. I can promise you that there were doubles with Melania. Her teeth are not the same. Okay, when she smiles, if you get 2 Melanias next to each other, blow up their smile, their teeth aren't the same. That's not the same woman. He used doubles. I do think that even Trump is using doubles now. And yes, I do think Putin is using a double. Absolutely, I think he's using a double. So her next question was, is the real Putin really sick? Is the real Putin really sick? So right now we're hearing all kinds of reports that he's got blood cancer, that he's got Parkinson's, that he's going into surgery this week for cancer. But see, he's been saying this for years. And you have to understand, Putin is the guy that literally sent out people in his own country and said, you go attack this political faction. So they did. These people went, I've got this. This is for real. His people went out and attacked the political faction. That political faction attacked them both. The police came and arrested the ones that attacked and threw them in prison, supposedly. A month later, he has the other side. It's all play acting. It's all about shaping the public opinion. People get bored. People think that they're living in a totalitarian or a communist country. So what does he do is he allows his people to go out and protest and fight and get arrested, but he's the one creating it. He literally is creating both sides. He did this recently when a hardliner general went on the state TV and said, we've lost the war, we've made all these bad mistakes, and he actually spoke the truth. But anyway, he said all this stuff, and people were like, oh my God, he's going to die, they're going to kill him, he's over. The next week, he shows up on state TV, oh, I was so wrong, I was wrong. This is all play acting, people. He has to give these people, it's like Shakespeare, they're telling me, right? It's like a Shakespeare play. You have to have drama. And he doesn't allow real drama, so he allows the drama that he creates. He really does. Everything is scripted. So when you see him and he's holding onto the desk, that is scripted. He would never appear weak if it wasn't meant to send some sort of message. A thing that he particularly likes is, I'm weak, and then, oh, now I'm a bear, I'm big, I'm strong. But you have to appear weak before you can appear strong, right? So he does that. He plays these games. So you can't really trust what you're seeing. It's a game, okay? But now I will say this. This is spelled wrong. These are my notes from 3 o'clock in the morning. Putin, mercury poisoning, look like cancer, and then I wrote Petruccio. Again, this is spelled wrong. Petruccio is spelled wrong. That's what I got. So is there a way to poison somebody so slowly that the symptoms look like something else? And then your doctors can say, this is cancer. Here's the paperwork. Here's the scans. Here's the results. And then they can start treating you. Okay. So when I saw that, the next thing I saw was that Putin is not able to fly to Saudi Arabia on a spur of a moment and walk in and get another opinion. A surprise visit to a doctor and get a second opinion. Because he is now surrounded, because he is at risk. They've been trying to kill him. Truly. Someone has been trying to kill him for a long time. And since the Ukraine war, someone's been trying to kill him nonstop. Even more so than they tried to kill Zelensky. So he is completely protected. And anything that a doctor gave one of his people could be co-opted. It could be changed. And his people are not loving life anymore. It's not about the old Russia when you had women and money and power. You don't have any of that now. There is no money. There is no Monte Carlo. There is no jetting to the United States. There's no fun. So those people protecting him don't have any reason to like him or to keep him around. So it's a battle about who's going to take over. Now, what I said in one of the Ukraine videos a while back, or what Spirit said, and I say I mean them, because right now they are me, is that I see a strong man taking over. I see Putin going out, and I see a strong man coming in that governs Russia for some period of time. This strong man is authoritarian. This Petruccio guy is actually worse than Putin, supposedly. So, be that as it may, I think that he will not be successful in Ukraine. That's a whole nother story. But yes, I think Putin is really sick. I think he's being poisoned so slowly that it's not noticeable as poison. And in my last video too, I saw spontaneously, I saw this, Putin has food tasters. Okay. I mean, a lot of them do. I mean, kings had food tasters, right? They all think they're kings anyway. So he has a food taster who tastes the food and it's okay. The food taster doesn't react, but the food taster had eaten some sort of charcoal that would absorb the poison, at least in the near time, at least in the, 30 minutes or something, right? So, then Putin assigned one of his advisors. And I remember calling it Russian roulette because you never know what he's going to do. He might not have an advisor taste his food. He may have you taste it. And then next time you taste it. So he points to a guy and the guy tastes the food and within 10 minutes is vomiting and is very, very sick and close to dying. So that was my last video that I did, these questions. So yes, he's being poisoned. Absolutely. He is really sick. But you have to get through all of the funhouse mirrors that they throw at us to figure out what's really happening. When I go into his body, he's sick. He doesn't feel good. He feels terrible. He doesn't know who to trust. He's lashing out at everybody, which makes him more of a target. So that's what I would say. Thank you so much, Susanna. Okay, so Marilyn H says, does the late Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg have any messages for us ladies about Roe v. Wade being overturned? Yes, her message is dissent. Her message is to dissent. That's what she would write as the dissent. And she had those collars. She had a special collar that she would wear when she was on the dissent, when she was writing the dissent and presenting the dissent, the dissenting judge's opinion. She would wear a particular collar. Her message is dissent. Her message is don't back down. There's more of us than there are of them. Don't back down. She's also saying right now there's a bill. Is there? There's a bill in front of Congress to increase the Supreme Court to 12 or 13 justices. And she's saying, write your senator, write your congressperson, put pressure. Don't back down. We don't have to let this happen. That's what she's saying. She's like, dissent. She's a spitfire, let me tell you. Okay, so Sherry Edelyn Simpson says, I've only did 3 questions and we're at 30 minutes. Okay, this is going to be a long one too. Where the shootings in Laguna Woods, so basically she's listing all the shootings, okay? You may not even know about all these shootings, but here they are. Where the shootings in Laguna Woods suburb of LA on May 15th, which targeted Taiwanese people. The shootings in Milwaukee on May 13th after a basketball game. In North Carolina on May 15th in several locations. And Buffalo, May 14th, African Americans related. Is there some kind of organized effort going on to cause chaos with these shootings? They seem to be increasing across the country. Will we see more of this, especially on Memorial Day and 4th of July when people gather? Yes. I was going to do a whole video about the shooting because the Buffalo shooting, because these shootings, I can tell you guys that we shouldn't have had another shooting after Sandy Hook, right? If somebody's going to kill kids, it should have been done. We should have been done. But here we are. And I want to say this, the energy has shifted. Yes, these shootings are linked. And what I want to tell you is that, okay, here's what's going on. There's these parts of the internet that are like, you know, the dark alleys of the internet that nobody goes except for the crazy people. And they're called 4chan and 8chan. Okay. Now on these sites, there is a lot of, violence. There's a lot of racism, anti-Semitism, anything you can think of. They've almost booted out all of the, child porn, but it started out being child porn. That's how it all started. And they finally went after the child pornographers and they took that one off. And now 8chan and 4chan they do have some child porn, but it's, you know, they try to limit it. Okay. So, I'm going to say that, that is my puppy playing in the background through 2 closed doors. So on these 4chan and 8chan places, this particularly the one shooter, the Buffalo shooter, he live streamed the event of him killing people on Twitch on one of those channels. Okay. So I want to tell you this, that the energy has changed because Biden is over this. And I was going to do a video about this, but I didn't have time. And, it's already in evidence because Tish James in New York, the AG, she's already going after them. She's saying, I'm going after these channels. Because what Sherry is suggesting is that there's a connection here. Well, yes, there's a connection. There's somebody or some people that are radicalizing these kids, these white kids, these white boys to become racist and to become violent. That kid did not radicalize himself. Okay? He was radicalized. So what you're going to see now is the DOJ. Now, I just skipped right over New York and I went straight to the DOJ. The DOJ will be instructed by Biden to, through the CIA and the FBI, to figure out who these people are radicalizing these kids. Because how do you connect all these shootings together? Well, you connect them because somebody is radicalizing them. And it might be one person, it might be 5 people, but if those 5 people are radicalizing, 20 people at once and 5 of them go on to do the act, we need to find those 5 people. We need to find those people that are doing the radicalizing. And I want to tell you that something that has been really hamstringing America and frankly the world is that we do this research and we find links that go back to other countries. And then we can't go any further because to go any further might actually cause a war. So what do? We placate. We try to send an ambassador. We try to be diplomatic. Look, stop, and exactly what Obama said to Putin. I know you're jacking with these voting, and when I find out, I'm going to come after you. But he didn't find out before the election. He had enough data to suspect. Go back to Matt Gaetz, what we just said. Enough data to suspect, maybe not enough data to indict. So I'm telling you guys that Biden is going to go after these people. He's going to put pressure on 4chan and 8chan in ways that has never happened ever in the past. I do unfortunately think that we're going to have more shootings, but I think that those will be the straw that broke the camel's back. Okay? It's the last video I talked all about dissolving dissolution. We have to dissolve this hate. We have to dissolve potentially the Republican Party. We're going to have to dissolve some whole institutions. That's going to make everything chaotic. The potential for chaos and unrest is really big this summer. But we have to do it because just like I said, or they said about the Jan 6 and the DOJ, there's rotten apples in the DOJ that are left over from Trump. And there's some people in there we just can't trust. Well, we got to find them. We got to ferret them out. We have to get them out of there. It's going to take some time, but I want you guys to know that for the first time since Sandy Hook, I think we're really going to make some really big strides. I really do. We're going to have some pain and suffering before we get there, but at least I really do see us getting to the bottom of it and clearing out some of this hate and clearing out the access to some of these guns. So, okay, I'm going to move on. Thank you for your question. Loretta Boykin says, will the antitrust laws currently on the books be used to break up big tech companies within the next 5 years? Will the antitrust laws that are already on the books be used to break up big tech companies within the next 5 years? Yes, Biden is trying to do that right now. He's trying, but I think we don't understand that the antitrust laws have been watered down, and that the courts that manage those antitrust laws have been stocked with Trump appointees. So I don't see as much success as we would like to see. I do see some success. I do see some companies being broken apart, maybe one or two. But there's, right. So Spirit, we're not worried about the big tech companies. You want to know the truth. The reason that we're in this bind with baby formula is because a couple of companies own all the baby formula production in the United States, and Trump put tariffs on baby formula coming from anywhere else to give all the business to those companies in the United States. The company in the United States, Abbott, that went out of business or shut down was because they weren't taking care of the machinery. Their own employees are on record saying, we knew this was coming. This machinery has not been taken care of. Instead of spending money on the machinery, they bought their own stocks back to make their company even more private. So Spirit is talking about that. Spirit is talking about meat, about the meat packers. We're talking about 2 or 3 companies that own all of our food production. This is not a good thing. So Spirit would actually rather see those companies get broken up. The tech companies, absolutely, from the standpoint of disinformation, coming especially on an election. But also it's really important for the food manufacturers to be broken up, and for the food production companies, they're showing me small farms, being able to have a little bit of a more equal, fair playing ground. Okay. I hope that makes sense. Thank you for your question. Judith Juliet says, is the DOJ prepared to issue charges against Meadows and Giuliani and or others? The DOJ is prepared to issue charges against Meadows. Okay. Giuliani just met with the Jan 6 committee for like 7 hours. Just imagine what word salad came out of his mouth for 7 hours and how much of it actually is really damning to everybody he knows. So that should be interesting. Giuliani is not going to be able to parlay anything he knows into a pass or an acquittal. That's laughable. The DOJ is prepared to issue charges The DOJ is prepared, listen to this, the DOJ is prepared to issue charges against Trump. However, they're looking for cover. I don't know what that means. I think it means that they're looking for assistance, backup. They're looking for backup. So they would rather, it's sad, isn't it? How this guy who's worthless is holding us hostage, and how Putin, who's worthless, is holding the world hostage. Is sad. It is really sad. But here we are. Trump. Okay. So they would like to have, the DOJ would like to have multiple charges from different agencies. That's what they just said. They would like to have multiple charges from different agencies. So they don't think that if the DOJ has charges that they can literally make it stick, which is infuriating. But if a state like Georgia, I think Georgia is going to end up having charges that are going to stick against Trump. So, again, it's back to the scene that the guides describe, and that is 100 archers. You know, they fire their arrows, 95 miss, 4 hit, and maybe 2 or 3 stick, 2 or 3 indict Trump. So we're looking for 95 misses here. Again, manage your expectations. It's not going to be perfect. It's not even going to be justice, potentially. But in the end, we're going to get some form of justice. And we're just going to have to be happy to have it, to be honest with you. I hope that makes sense. Cindy P., thank you for your question. She asked, will the market stabilize enough for people to close to retirement? Will the market stabilize enough for people close to retirement? Is it a good idea to just leave your money in the market or pull it out? It makes me nervous as I'm hoping to retire in a year. Everybody's different. I don't give stock market advice, so take this with a whole mouthful of grains of salt. The only thing you should really be worried about is Bitcoin. Like if you have a lot of Bitcoin, you're going to have to make some kind of plan there. The market is going to be on a roller coaster ride. It's not like you guys, I don't think you're pulling all your money out when you retire. Then you're going to start pulling some money out, but you're going to leave it in. What was it the other day they told somebody to take their money? Spirit is saying there's ways to be smart investing right now. Investing in vaccines, investing in batteries for cars. Those are big ticket items. If you, I'm not going to judge this one way or another. If you, want to invest in defense, Raytheon is something they've talked to me about. There's money to be made here. You just have to pay attention to what's going on. And I'm not talking about day trading. I'm not talking about pulling your money out or moving your money. I'm talking about being a little bit cautious. If you're worried about losing a lot of money, talk to your broker, pull your stocks into more of a less aggressive. If you're about to retire, your stock should be in a less aggressive place anyway. And if that's the case, you're fine. The stock market is not going to crash and burn forever. That's not it. It's a living thing. It's going to go up and down and up and down. In the next year, that would be May of 2023, I don't see a stock market crash that would wipe out your whole stock market portfolio. Again, think about Enron. If you're investing in a company, I'll be honest with you, Tesla is losing a lot of money right now. So, think about that. Do I need to pull my Tesla stocks out? How are my Facebook stocks doing? How are my Twitter stocks doing? Pay attention. If you're investing in a volatile area, then you need to pay attention to that and potentially pull those stocks out. Otherwise, if you're just got a broad spectrum then I would say talk to your broker about that. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Hi, Nancy. Nancy wants to know, will the fairness doctrine ever be reinstated? Will American oligarchs block it? Right, the fairness doctrine, you guys can Google that, but it basically said it was fairness in TV reporting. And I believe Ronald Reagan got rid of it. Look, so many institutions have been gutted, and this is where we are. Biden is going to do something. It's not going to be the fairness doctrine, obviously. Everybody says that we can't do the fairness doctrine because we have social media now and we just don't have newspapers and TV. I don't really understand that argument per se. They also say that Fox News somebody sued Tucker and they went before the judge and they were able to convince the judge that, believe it or not, that no one should believe anything coming out of Tucker Carlson's mouth. That was their defense. And they won. And that's why we all say on YouTube, for entertainment purposes only, because Fox News says this is an entertainment show. This isn't news, right? So they've blurred the lines. They've made everything muddy. We're in a bit of a pickle, honestly, you guys. I do think that Biden is going to, I think Murdoch, who owns Fox News, is going to be incapacitated, either health-wise, to the degree that he's not really running the show, or incapacitated where he crosses over. And I think that that's going to happen in the next year. And then I think his son is going to take over. I think you're going to see some changes with Fox News. I think that you're going to see some, right. So they're showing me, how does that make any sense? They showed me sanctions on Putin, and they're kind of talking about putting sanctions on Fox News or some sort of controls on Fox News. They're going to more than likely not allow them to broadcast on bases, on military bases anymore. So anyway, we are going to make some strides towards that. Yes, we are. We are going to make strides towards that. Biden understands that our only problem is disinformation. That is our only problem in America. If it wasn't for the disinformation campaign that came out of Russia, that's coming out of Russia, and Cambridge Analytica, just Google that. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't be where we are today. We would not be where we are today. And if it wasn't for Fox, and if it wasn't for 4chan and 8chan, we wouldn't be where we are today. These are stains, poisons, pox on our society, and they have to be eradicated. It's not about free speech anymore. We're going to have to prove that these people are responsible for deaths. That's where we're going now. Okay. Thank you so much. Mickey Walk says, a friend of mine is worried about mass starvation, partly because of Putin's war on Ukraine, but I'm sure supply chain and fewer workers because of COVID also cause some worry. She said China is buying up American hay, which puts pressure on every country that needs to import hay. My husband is a dairy farmer in Japan. He's not worried about mass starvation, but he's terribly worried about feed prices going up. That's the context for my question. How will harvest in the Northern Hemisphere be this fall? And how will consumer prices look this summer and fall? Will there be protests about the high price of food? Even worse, mass starvation. I get this question a lot from my clients about mass starvation. I don't see mass starvation. She's talking about, didn't she say the Northern Hemisphere? I'm going to talk about the United States first. The United States is not going to experience mass starvation. We are going to experience shortages we are going to experience shortages like maybe we haven't experienced before. Again, why am I saying again? Did I talk about this? I think I did talk about this. Meat, regulation of meat, quality of meat, like the same thing with the baby formula. And the fact that, 2 or 3 companies own all of this. We're looking at a world of hurt. Okay. So I expect meat to be very shorted. Maybe it's just pork or maybe it's just chicken. I don't know. But you're going to see supply chain disasters is what they just said. Okay. Now, I don't see the United States starving. We're not going to starve. Now, there are countries that are going to starve. There's countries that are starving now. And Russia stole and is continuing to steal Ukraine's wheat and grains. And Ukraine is one of the biggest producer of that type of food. And this isn't the first time Russia's done this. This has happened before in a different war against Ukraine. So those grains are going to cause starvation potentially in Africa, sub-Saharan Africa, they just said. And also other parts of Europe. We could see food insecurity in Central and South America. Food insecurity means we're about to be starving, but we're not. So, will we see prices? Yes, are going to go up. See, this is the thing. China is buying American hay. Folks, China owns more agricultural land in America than Americans do. Okay? This is one of those situations where Trump actually, the Republicans are always bashing China, but that's kind of true. China owns us. They own our debt. They own our land. It's ridiculous. We should write laws to not allow this to happen, right? We should benefit our own people sometimes. So, and China's doing this because they're mad at us for the tariffs that Trump put on them. It's a big old mess. I'm not even going to lie to you guys. It's a big mess. Yes, prices are going to continue to go up. That's going to continue to make Biden's popularity go down. It's not Biden's fault, but it is what it is. It's going to be a dicey summer, you guys. It is going to be a dicey summer. You're going to have civil unrest. You're going to have shortages. We might have attacks on our grid or our water. I've said this many times. The guides are a little bit worried about water in general. They've talked about all of us having, 5 gallons of water just in case somewhere. We could very likely suffer some attacks. And we're not going to be able to go back to them and say, stop doing this, because then it's a war. So you understand the situation we're in. But I don't see starvation in America. I don't see it. Fritos they'd just feed us Fritos or something. It's like, but anyway, thank you for your question. I understand. I'm not trying to make light of your question, Mickey Walk. I understand that this is really an energy that you empaths and I'm picking up on. And especially since your husband is a dairy farmer in Japan. I mean, he knows what's going on. And it's putting the squeeze on him as well. Probably more so than us. The squeeze is on him probably more so than us. It's back to the New World Order. I have a whole video named New World Order a long time ago. Biden is trying to link up with other democratic countries so that he can stop buying things from China. Because when we go to war with somebody and our enemy is making the thing that we need to maybe fire a gun, that's probably not a good thing. So Biden is trying to create a new world order where a lot of democratic countries, and especially countries in NATO and the EU, can all trade with each other and all supply critical things to each other so that we can stop patronizing. We can stop buying from China. We can stop buying from Russia. And that is making China mad. So they're going to swing back. They're going to hit us back. So this is kind of what you're seeing here. I hope that answers. And here is a question from Cece from Texas. Okay, so she says, I've been hearing a lot that they see Biden getting sick or leaving and the vice president stepping in and changing, so forth. Do your guys see this event happening? I have seen this happening. This has been a potential on the timeline since Biden's inauguration. And actually, I think Cash Peters did a video about this today. He did do a video about this today. So check out Cash Peters' video. A potential on the timeline means that it's a potential that could happen. What I saw was Biden either stepping down this term or next term for whatever reason, and then Kamala Harris becoming president. Because when I saw Kamala Harris for the very first time, I'm not familiar with her. I'm in Texas. She's in California. When she got picked to be the VP, I saw her for the very first time on a televised video interview. And when I was watching her, my guides said president, just president. And it had that kind of energy that I have come to recognize as being final. Like, this is not up for discussion. So I fully expect Kamala Harris to be president. Now, how that literally comes down to becoming reality, it can happen many different ways. But that's what I see. That I have seen that. I've said that in videos for the last year for sure. Yes, absolutely. Thank you for your question. Luz Echeverry says, will China be held accountable by the international community for spreading COVID, which has killed more than 6 million people around the world? No, they're not going to be held accountable. China is even worse than Russia about supplying the entire world with things that we really, really, really need. So none of us are in any shape to poke that bear in the eye. You might hear some tough talk, but you're not going to see anything substantial that's going to make China be held accountable. Okay. I do not see that. First of all, we can't really prove it. There's a lot of science. And they're a communist country and we don't know what's real and what's not with them as well. So, yeah, I wish we were, but no. That's an interesting thing. No, Luz, thank you so much for your question. Francis Fenn says, will Trump be prosecuted by the DOJ for the taking of classified documents to Mar-a-Lago before the 2024 election season begins? Yes, Francis, great question. Yeah, he's going to be prosecuted. Indicted and prosecuted are two different things, right? He's going to be indicted. He's going to be indicted this year. The timing is super important. The guides are telling me, and they've been telling me, we need to go through this summer and really dig in and get all of that goopy stuff out. If we just put a Band-Aid on it and go through to next year, it's over. We're not ever going to have the justice, any kind of justice. We're not going to have that. So we need to go in this summer and just do it. And I'm telling you, it is going to be rough. It is going to be rough because every time you do any little thing to the Republicans, they throw up a distraction. A distraction causes chaos. Distraction is, Trump, Elon Musk trying to buy Twitter, or this baby formula mess, which actually started happening December of last year, and the FDA investigated it February of this year. But of course, in May, for some reason, the Republicans grab a hold of it and make it a great big, problem on every news channel. And I'm not saying it wasn't a problem. I know parents are looking for baby formula. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it becomes weaponized in a new way. Okay, so this summer you're going to see that. You're going to see big shock and awe. Same thing that I did a video on. He is going to be indicted this year. He is going to pay the price. He's going to go down. I have seen him. I've said this a million times. I'll say it again. He's not going to ever be president. He's going to be wearing a white, sometimes it looks like pajamas, but today it looks like a prison uniform. I'm going to be honest with you. There's no collar all of a sudden. He's lost his collar, and now he has a round scoop neck collar. So it looks a little bit more like a prison uniform. It is white, but today it is dingy white. So I would assume that because I used to see him in this sort of pajamas-y kind of outfit, in a white walls with a white floor with a white ceiling, kind of looks like an insane asylum. I'm not going to lie. And he's by himself. He's not with other inmates. Look, this is a president of the United States of America. We cannot put him in prison. We can put him in some sort of house arrest, some kind of special place that we're going to have to make for an ex-president, because he's still worth something. He's still worth something to people. To our enemies, and so we need to protect him as such. But it's interesting that my vision has changed, and now he's wearing sort of a dingy shirt with no collar, with a scoop neck. I would say things are starting to look worse for him. That's what I would say. The energy is suggesting things are starting to look worse for him. So yes, he's going to be prosecuted by the 2024 election. He's likely to be prosecuted by early next year. Thank you for your question. Fed Girl says the Connecticut governor, Ned Lamont, who's a Democrat, is up for re-election this November. He's being challenged by Bob Stefanowski, who's a Republican and who is a Trumpster. Who will win? I pray Ned does, because he's done a lot of good, and the other guy will take all the good things he's done away from us. Okay, Fed Girl. Sorry about that. It's hard. I'm trying. That Bob dude is what can I say and not get sued for? He's a piece of work. It's a piece of work. Ned Lamont. Yeah, I see blue. Okay, blue. Ned Lamont. I think Ned Lamont is going to win. I think the Bob guy might potentially, allegedly, whatever words I have to use, run afoul of some sort of money issues. And some of these money issues might be the kind of money issues that you might use a Maytag to do. Okay, moving on. Thank you, Fed Girl. Linda Ehrman says, will Mastriano, that anti-democracy candidate, lose the PA governor's race? Please, God, yes. Yeah, Mastriano is going to lose. Hold on. The energy is really changing right now. I've read on this many times, and every time they tell me Mastriano's going to lose, and just now there was a little bit of a so what that means is we have to work a little harder to get is it Fetterman? Who's the other guy? It's not Fetterman. It's just Shapiro, Josh Shapiro, right? Okay, Josh Shapiro's going to win. Okay. All right. Whew, I gave my own self a heart attack right there. Okay, thank you. Gina Brenneman says, who will win? same question between Mastriano and Shapiro. Yes, same question. Shapiro's going to win. Helena says, peace in Ukraine anytime soon, and stability, peace for it, for Europe. She prays for peace daily. Thank you for praying. It really works. Listen, guys, I did 3 or 4 videos on Ukraine. I went back and fact checked them. They're all basically 85, 90%, if not more, accurate. Here we are in the last video. In my last video is where we are now. And the part along the southeastern part of Ukraine, the Donbass region, including Crimea, is the contested thing. And this is what the guides said from the very beginning. Ukraine would rout the Russians out of the whole country except for that area. That area is the contentious part. And the guide said that the West would encourage Zelensky to just give it to Russia. And the guide said that Zelensky would say, over my dead body. And the West would say, well, good luck, because we cannot any longer support you with these weapons because we feel that you have 2/3 of your country and you should be happy to have that. And you should just want peace at this point and start rebuilding. And we're going to withdraw our support. Now, this has already happened. France and Germany already said this to Zelensky last week. It's already coming to the fore. Here we have Rand Paul voting against aid for Ukraine. The pressure is really on Ukraine to do this. On top of that, Russia seems to be really getting their act together in the Donbass region. They finally took control of Mariupol. And also the prisoners that were there, the fighters that were there became prisoners. Guys, I'm going to be honest with you and say that it really may be that Ukraine cannot get this part back. And it may be that this is a 7-year bloody war that Ukraine never gives up. I mean, Ukraine is not going to give up. I'm going to tell you. Biden doesn't want to give up. Biden does not want to give up. Congress, is ridiculous. They're not really gonna be wanting to support Zelensky. So this is a problem. I would say that again, 3/4 of Ukraine is in peace. Our ambassador has gone back. Everybody and their dog has visited Ukraine. I mean, the Republicans visited Ukraine. Jill, the first lady visited Ukraine. It's really going back to peace. It's just this contentious area. And when I go into that energy, Russia is dug in. In every other part of Ukraine, they were able to push them out. They didn't feel dug in. They feel dug in there. I don't know how that's going to end. I can't tell you. It's very contentious right now. But keep praying for them. And pray for those people that Russia has stolen. Okay, Darren says that, I think I kind of answered this a little bit. Darren says, I mentioned in a comment about the next Russian president being a totalitarian. What difference would it make considering Putin's actions? I hope it's not the same stuff, different guy kind of deal. I mentioned this when I talked about Putin getting poisoned. This new guy, Pachinko, Pusha, I can't say it, it's Russian. Energy suggests strongly that a strong man, totalitarian, authoritarian type man takes over. Now, what I didn't say before was that it's the same thing. I also want to talk about Ukraine again. In both cases of Russia in general and Ukraine, the Donbass region, both of those things are going to be released. So within 3 years, if Ukraine does not get that Donbass region, they're going to get it back. It's not going away forever. Ukraine will get it back. Ukraine will be made whole once again at some point. Now, with Russia, the strong man comes in, but he doesn't last long because honestly, with Russia, I do see famine, and I see real uprisings, and I see that guy going out, and I see Navalny becoming a potential figurehead that gets released from prison and then leads Russia into this sort of rebuilding and sort of peace, much the way Germany and Japan had to be reconditioned after they were taken over by their, regimes. So you see the same thing happening with Russia. I see Russia becoming more socialist democratic in the next 8 years. So yeah, I see this strongman coming in, but he doesn't stay long. And soon after that, we get real changes in Russia. They're still going to be a pariah for quite a while, though. Thank you for your question. Blue Birdie says Dr. Oz has dual citizenship in Turkey. He's now saying if elected, he will renounce his Turkey citizenship. I don't know. I think the primary just happened and it might still be being counted, but I don't see him winning. He's not going to win the senator. Even the Republicans are not going to vote for him. He's got a dual citizenship. There's video of him voting. I mean, come on, in another country, he's not going to win. I wouldn't worry about Dr. Oz. But that doesn't mean don't worry about the election, because we can't afford to take anything easy right now. We need to be very much about our business as Democrats. Truly, your grandkids we are going to be the ones that saved America, that your grandkids are going to be thanking, to be honest with you. And of course, Gen Z too, the younger kids too. But the people who can vote right now are going to be the ones that save this place for the 5-year-olds in the future. The Judith says, will Senator Whitehouse's dark money investigation result in any DOJ charges or senators leaving their positions, and will the investigation impact both Republicans and Democrats? Will Senator Whitehouse's dark money investigation result in any DOJ senator charges or senators? Y'all, I'm going to be honest with you. And when I say DOJ, I'm not talking about Merrick Garland, but I am talking about some people in the DOJ are just not on our team, okay? They're not on Team Justice. Well, I'm going to put it to you this way. If his work will not go unnoticed. His work will bear fruit. It may not bear fruit this year, but it is laying some important groundwork for future bills and future rulings that will happen in the next year. So that's good. And he is amazing. I mean, he's amazing. We're so lucky to have him. Bugaboo Insect Feeders says, my question is about whether the carried interest loophole, we need to get rid of it and curb private equity rating. Oh yeah, the carried interest loophole. Okay, I don't think I can explain that. You guys should Google it. It's very important. I'm going to explain it and I'm going to get it wrong, and I don't want to get it wrong. It's the carried interest loophole. Google it. The carried interest loophole is so important to the oligarchs, the American oligarchs. I mean, without that, how are they supposed to make their mega gamillions of dollars? You know? I mean, that is exactly how they've traded up so quickly. How we used to have millionaires and now we have billionaires. You know, this is how it happened. So how would they allow us to get rid of it? So I guess what Spirit is saying is we're going to have to change some other things before we can change that. We're going to have to start addressing the Sheldon Whitehouse, the dark money. We're going to have to start addressing our problem in the DOJ. We're going to have to start addressing our problem in the Supreme Court. We're going to have to start addressing these federal judges that have been appointed by Trump. We have to address all of these things before we can go for that. That's sort of a bigger goal. But I do think that we have to address it for us to move into the ascension that I see us moving into. That is something that has to be addressed. But I'm not sure that it's going to be addressed in the next year or even 2 years. you're right, though. We need to do something about it. Sue Perkins says, what motivates Tucker Carlson to spew such venom? Is he intending just to be provocative, or does he believe the garbage coming out of his mouth? And then after this, I think I'm going to end this, and I might do a part 2. I might not. So just hang out and we'll see. Sue Perkins, your question about Tucker Carlson. His dad he's much like his dad. His dad is somebody who blew the lid off of something. I can't remember what it is now, but his dad is very famous for this kind of thing too. Tucker Carlson believes that white people are superior for entertainment purposes only, Tucker. He believes that. And not only does he believe that, he believes that there are such a things as blue bloods. A lot of this, what we're seeing is people wanting to go back to kings and queens and bloodlines. It goes even beyond racism. We're talking about a caste system even within the white community. And I think their caste system is money. So that's what he believes. So yeah, he believes all of that. He's not just trying to be a provocateur. He really believes it with all his little dark black heart. And I think I'm going to end it there. I'm going to end this particular version here because we're in 1 hour and 16 minutes. And I just want to say thank you for watching, for tuning in, for subscribing, for liking, and for commenting. I love to read your comments. Again, I answer your questions as well. If you guys are interested, I do have a Patreon channel where it's a membership, and we do some pretty fun stuff over there. Mostly leading towards spiritual, but also some politics. We do classes and things. You can check out that in the description of this video. Thanks again for watching, and I want you guys to know that the most important thing is you. The most important thing is that you're okay. The most important thing is that you're happy, you're joyful, that you feel loved, that you love yourself. Because without that, we don't have the light shining all over the globe that we need to shine. Because when we're down on ourselves, or we stay too long in grief, or too long in sadness, or too long in resentment or anger, those are all human emotions, and they're all worthy of feeling, and we should feel them to the max. And we should get them out of our body to the max. But we don't want to get stuck there. We don't want to get stuck there. We want to try to spend a little more time in relaxation and peace and joy and frivolity and fun. Because when we do that, we're emanating a brighter light. And there's nothing that this world needs more right now than as much light as it can get. So as we go through the summer, and it is dicey, not gonna lie, I haven't lied to you guys. I've always been straight up. Take good care of yourself. This stuff can really get you down. It can really, really wear us sensitive people down. So please take good care of yourself. Don't bring it into your body. Say a prayer for that. Say a prayer for Ukraine. Say a prayer for these poor people that have been harmed or shot. And then let it go. It's not yours. You are yours. Okay? Much love to you. Take good care. We'll see you again soon right here. Bye, everybody.